2 more weeks went into the development of my adventure game. What's new? There is a public playtesting session later this week in my area, which is pretty exciting. And I want to make sure that the first people who ever lay hands on this game have a smooth experience and can actually understand what the story is about. So I've added a few more hints to the background story here and there. Also, some of the items that you need to solve puzzles were actually just kind of lying around for easy testing for me. And I've reorganized those a bit to make the introductory puzzles more interesting. I also had a rather spontaneous idea for a new machine that Amy could encounter, so I quickly put that together in Blender and integrated it here. The topic that I want to discuss in some more depth today, though, is sound. I'm really not much of an audio person, but I'm trying to get better at it, so I've put some effort into adding sound effects. In games, sometimes it's good enough to just play a sound clip as it is, but very often you would want to make the sound adaptive, parameterize it in some way, without complicating your actual gameplay code. Take this little guy's engine sound, for example. He needs a sound for starting up, and a looping sound that should change in some way with the speed at which he's going. There are big commercial solutions like Fmod and Wise out there which provide exactly that sort of abstraction for adaptive game audio. Me as a solo dev though, I'm not too keen on learning yet another package, so I've been looking for alternatives. And fortunately it turns out Unreal Engine now has a similar solution built in, MetaSounds. You can do a lot of crazy complex stuff with MetaSounds, but I just want to show you this very simple setup for the engine sound that I've mentioned. These are the 2 basic wave files that I'm using. One for starting up the engine, and another one for the looping sound. I've created one MetaSounds asset that uses both of these sound clips. When you look at it, it's basically a signal flow graph. There are sound sources, the wave files playing here, which get mixed together and routed to the output. There's also an input trigger for starting the sound. When the sound gets triggered, this wave file plays first. This is the engine startup sound. After some delay, this delay trigger here, the other sound starts up. This will be the looping sound. There is some overlap between the two, so they are mixed together and routed to the output. The real power comes from adding additional input parameters though. I have just one scalar value here indicating the robot's speed. I use this parameter to modify the pitch of the sound, so the faster he goes, the higher the engine sound. And what's really nice about this is that you can test your setup directly in the graph view. Just hit play and turn the knobs for the input values. Hooking a meta sound up with the actual gameplay is easy too. I've done it here in the NPC's animation blueprint. You could do it in any other blueprint. So as you see here, once he powers up, the engine sound is spawned. The sound is tied to the robot's location by the way, so when Amy walks away, the sound volume drops. I did already calculate a value for the driving speed to control the animation, so that very conveniently can be simply passed to the sound object. And that's all there is to it. I could now go and tweak the sound setup to my heart's desire without touching any gameplay code. It's really fantastic. So much for this week's devlog update. And next time I promise I will show you some new scenery. Bye!